guys. So this is Monday's math lesson, and we are talking about time today. So we're gonna do this video talking about clocks and time. We're gonna watch a Brain Pop Junior video about time. And then after this video, you have one Google form you need to fill out, and then an optional activity to make a practice clock at home. So let's get started with our video. Today we're talking about time. Specifically, we're talking about the hour, time to the hour. So I want you to think for a minute about your day or your day in school. What do you think takes you an hour? An hour is 60 minutes. What do you think takes you 60 minutes? So pause the video if you need to. Just think about that for a minute. What takes 60 minutes, 1 hour? Let's brainstorm some ideas together, okay? So, I have a little 2 boxes up here, a little chart. Everything in this box is things that take about an hour. Everything over here are going to be things that take about half an hour, and we'll get to that later on in this unit. But right now we're going to talk about what takes an hour. When we were in school, the time that you were at recess and lunch, whoops, that doesn't need to get capitalized. That was a full hour from the time you left the classroom to go to recess and the time you came back from the classroom after lunch. That was 1 whole hour. Another thing that takes about an hour, any type of practice. So it could be maybe a t-ball practice, or it could be dance class or taekwondo. That usually could take about an hour. Some other things that are an hour, car rides. Car ride to, let's see, a car ride to Concord, New Hampshire takes about an hour, maybe a little bit less. A car ride to Manchester takes a little bit more than an hour. 2 TV shows. So 2 TV shows, if you put those together, that would take about an hour. The amount of time that you're reading now is 30 minutes, that's half an hour. So 2 of those times put together, 2 reading times. Those are all things that take an hour. Now let's talk a little bit more about clocks. There are 2 kinds of clocks that you see. Most of the clocks that you see today are digital clocks. So that would be the clocks that you see in your car, the clocks that you see on your stove, on your computer, on your tablet. A digital clock has 2 numbers. A digital clock has 2 numbers. I'm gonna move this over here. And usually like a rectangle type shape. And there will be, if it's 6 o'clock, there will be an hour, and then a colon, and minutes. And that's what a digital clock looks like. There's also analog clocks, and analog clocks are what you saw in school. You might have an analog clock in your house on the wall. I actually don't have any analog clocks in my house, so I made a clock. And this is my analog clock. It has a hand and it has numbers. All right. There are 24 hours in our day. Our analog clocks go to 12. That means that in one day, the hour hand goes around the clock twice. Okay, that's why there's a 1 o'clock in the morning and a 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or something that is probably more familiar to you because 1 o'clock in the morning is the middle of the night. 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe when you wake up, and 6 o'clock at night, maybe when you eat dinner. All right, so this is called an analog clock. It has the big numbers around it, and those big numbers represent hours. We're focusing mostly only on hours right now. Later on in this unit, we'll talk about minutes. If you're interested to learn more about clocks, there are some books on Raz Kids about telling time. And if you want to learn more about minutes, you can certainly do that on your own. For this lesson, we're going to talk just about time to the hour. So on an analog clock, there are two hands. Mine only has one because it's only representing the shorter hand. One hand is long and the other hand is short. The short hand is the hand that shows the hour. So when the hour hand is pointing to a number, that tells you that it is exactly 3 o'clock. Okay. As the hour goes on, because there are 60 minutes in an hour, as the hour goes on, the hour hand slowly moves down to the next hour. And when it's exactly on the next number, that means it's exactly an hour later. So now it would be 4 o'clock. And then another 60 minutes goes by, and my hour hand slowly moves down to the next number, and now it's 5 o'clock. And then my hour slowly goes by, 60 minutes go by, and my hour hand is pointing to the next number, which is 6, and now it's 6 o'clock. Okay. One important thing to note is as the hour hand travels slowly, it is in the 6 o'clock hour until it is exactly on the next number. So if it was a time like 6:30, then my hour hand is still partly, I'm going to move my clock closer so you can see, still partly between the 6 and the 7. I'm trying to have enough fingers to do this. It is partly between the 6 and the 7. Okay, that means that it's still the 6 o'clock hour. So 6:30 means that it's still in that 6 o'clock hour time. Once my hour hand gets to 7, that means that it's no longer in the 6th hour. Now it's the 7th hour. So it's going to be 7, maybe 7:30. And then once it gets to 8, then we're in the 8 o'clock hour. Okay, so let's watch a Brain Pop video on time to the hour, and then we'll do a little bit more chatting, and that'll be it. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Gonna make sure my volume is up so you can hear. Hopefully it's not too loud. I'm gonna make it full screen so you can see it and hear it.
No, Moby, it's not time for lunch yet. Look at the clock. How can you tell time? When you tell time, you look at the little hand first. That's the hour hand. The hour hand is on the 9. Next, you look at the big hand. That's the minute hand. The minute hand is on the 12. So the time is exactly 9 o'clock in the morning. O'clock means of the clock. We go to the computer lab at 10 o'clock. and go to the library at 11 o'clock. Moby, those aren't our bags. How do you write the time? Now the time is 3 o'clock. I can write 3 o'clock using words, or write it using numbers and words. I can also write the time using only numbers. Well, first I write the hour, so that's 3. Then I add a colon to separate the hours from the minutes. Finally, I write how many minutes are past the hour. It's exactly 3 o'clock, so there are 0 minutes past the hour. You write the time to 2 places, so I write zeros in the ones place and the tens place. How does time change from 1 hour to the next? We've got to wait 1 hour for the lasagna. Well, there are 60 minutes in an hour, and it's 5 o'clock now. It takes 60 minutes for the minute hand to go all the way around while the hour hand moves from the 5 to the 6. So the lasagna will be done at 6 o'clock. Wait a minute. Now I'm a little confused. Well, there are 24 hours in the day, but there are only 12 numbers on a clock. Right, Moby. The hour hand goes around the clock twice in one day. That's why we have an 8 o'clock in the morning and an 8 o'clock at night. 12 o'clock at night is called midnight because it's in the middle of the night. 12 o'clock during the day is called noon. Hey, it's noon now. Grab your lunchbox, Moby. Let's go. Moby, what was that?
All right. So let's practice writing time. And Moby and Annie talked about how when you write time, you have the hour first, which is the shorter hand, a colon, which is 2 dots on top of each other, and then the minutes. They also said that the minutes have 2 places. So I'm going to make 2 lines here instead of 1. So when you write the time, you always write the hour and then 2 numbers for the minutes. Since we're working it in time to the hour, our minutes are going to stay the same. It's going to be 0, 0, because we're going to talk about time exactly to that hour. So here's my clock. Here's my hour hand. And let's see, how would we write, let's say this time. What number is the hour hand pointing to? Yeah, the hour hand is pointed to 5. That means it's pointing exactly to 5, which means it's 5 o'clock. So how would I write that? I would write the 5 in the hour because that is where the hour hand is pointing, the 5. And the minutes are 0, 0. So anytime the minutes are 0, 0, you can imagine that minute hand pointing to the 12. Okay. All right, let's try again. And then we're going to call it a day. What if my hour hand is pointing exactly to the 10? That means that it's 10 o'clock. So I'm going to write 10 as the hour because, whoops, maybe, because my hour hand is pointing exactly to the 10. And the minutes 0, 0. So we would read this as 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. All right. The next part of your math today is completing a Google form. And that Google form has review questions, 4 review questions. So you will need tools. You'll need your number line, and maybe you might need your whiteboard. I know that is always a helpful tool for me. So after you finish this video, go ahead and complete that Google form. And then if you want to make your own practice clock, there is information on how to do that. So you can have your own practice clock at home. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.